and this is our inquiry into the events company, and this is the introduction to the briefing for that inquiry. Kieran, can I just ask you to give a brief introduction into the events company? We are now in public session and we will be moving into a closed session to have a fuller briefing.
Okay, Chair, we'll just introduce you to my team here at Denver Lynn, who led the investigation, Roger McCants and Stephen Smith. I'll just pass over to Denver to take you through the piece in open session.
Okay, thanks, Kieran.
Michaela, sorry, can I just flag something before the start?
Yes.
The correspondence from the accounting officer to the chief executive of the events company, it's pages 101, 102, and 103 is not too bad. But I find the bottom of page 101 and 102 very hard to make out. Can you have a better copy of it?
Is that a letter of appointment?
Letter of appointment.
It's very poor quality.
Sorry, that's the best.
I'll struggle on as well.
We'll cover that later on. I can
No problem.
take some extracts from it.
Is that okay, Phil?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Denver?
Chair, the Public Accounts Committee has already had the opportunity to consider some aspects of the failure of the Northern Ireland Events Company in 2008. At that stage, company inspectors appointed by the Department of Enterprise, Trade and Investment were about to commence their investigation. The CNIG gave a commitment that we would report on the issues following the completion of the company inspection. The inspectors completed their work in March 2014, and our report draws on their conclusions and highlights the reasons behind the ultimate failure of the company and the accumulation of a £1.5 million deficit. The Northern Ireland Events Company was established in 1997 as a private company limited by guarantee with the aim of supporting international standard events in Northern Ireland. It was funded by government grant, firstly by the Department of the Environment and from 1999 by the newly formed Department of Culture, Arts and Leisure. In September 2007, its acting chief executive, Jasper Perry, notified DCAL of an events company deficit estimated at that time at $1.2 million. This was the first time DCAL was aware of any problems within the events company.
Could I stop you, Denver? When was that?
That was in September 2007.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. The Northern Ireland Executive agreed that DCAL would meet any outstanding liabilities of the company, and since then DCAL has provided around $1.5 million to meet creditors' liabilities and other administration costs. The inspectors concluded that of the deficit, around $1.3 million could be attributed to overspending on events that were promoted by the events company between 2005 and 2007. The majority of this is attributable to motorcycling events, specifically motocross and supermoto. In preparing our report, we have had regular contact with DETI, DCAL and PSNI. We have also undertaken an extensive clearance process with third parties who were named or otherwise identifiable in the report. And just finally, our report covers the reasons why a deficit occurred, how the deficit was covered up, the failure of the board to provide oversight, weaknesses in the department's monitoring, other investigations that are currently ongoing, and DCAL's current arrangements for its arm's length bodies.
Okay, Denver, thank you. Does anybody want to ask any questions before we go on?
And I want to ask a question before we go on to. Obviously, there's intense public interest in why an overspend of £1.2 million was reported in 2007, and we're considering this now in 2015. That's one question. There's a second question being asked extensively. The recipients of the £1.2 million have not been named. Is there some criteria that allows, for example, the chief executive to be named, but not somebody who was in receipt of over £1 million of public money?
Take your final question first, Deputy Chair. Whilst we haven't named all the names in this, you're perfectly entitled at the evidence session to ask for names on who those recipients were.
Okay.
On your first question, was it's really around the long delay in doing the investigation. The forensic investigation took like 6.5 years. It was completed last year. We eventually got a copy of it, and then you give me the exact month. It was
August.
August, so just about a year ago. So we have had it for the past year.
Well, obviously I have the highest regard for the Audit Office, and I'm quite sure the Audit Office is not responsible for this scandal. But, you know, will we be able to ask questions on why something that clearly was off the rails for 8 years is only coming to light now, when it's a document that quite honestly is fit for some library that collects historical documents?
I think they're perfectly legitimate questions to ask, and of course you're going to have 2 evidence sessions on this,
Yes.
and at the second evidence session, you know, that's territory you can probe into.
Okay. Obviously, we would appreciate any help from
Yeah.
the Audit Office or the clerks we can get, because that has made people absolutely very annoyed. If I'm a month late in completing my tax return, I have a penalty of £100 and daily penalties after that. And here, £1.2 million of public monies, 8 years later, we're only now asking the question.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. I'll have Roy and then Phil, and just to be mindful, we are in open session.
Yeah.
We're moving into close.
Yeah.
Roy.
If I've picked you up right, the forensic investigation was completed in August last year, and I think you said the inspector's report was completed in October.
Sorry, now just to correct that, the inspector's report was completed in March of last year, and it
March.
was passed to us in August.
March. So, okay, I thought October was mentioned. Okay, so it's August. What I'm looking at, it's then taken a further year plus a little bit to produce your own report. Have you had particular difficulty in getting sign-off, or what's been the delay from your own side?
I'd say it's more the complexity of the material, the importance of working closely with third parties, people who are criticised in the report. There are principles of what we call natural justice, so any third party that is critiqued would have the right to see parts of the
Okay.
report. That is quite a torturous process. Also because of the nature of this, we had to work closely with the PSNI
Okay.
and to make sure anything we were putting into the public domain was not going to cut across any other investigations.
I
So
fully
in
understand
that
it is
sense-
vital that we don't cut across potential police investigations and prosecutions. Okay.
Thank you. Phil?
You might keep me right here, Michaela, but I'm not sure what the point of open session, closed session is. It's never something I understood. What types of questions am I supposed to ask now, and what types of questions am I supposed to ask when into closed session?
Well, normally the Audit Office gives a general brief,
Right.
and then there is issues within the inquiry. There's a police investigation ongoing, and it's just in case members stray into those areas. In this report anyway, I think, Kieran, if you want to add to that, so that's why we're moving into closed. We get the
Okay.
general overview in the brief.
Chairperson, just on the back of the question that Roy asked, we've just been told that the PSNI were somehow involved in this. Do we have the right to call the PSNI as a witness to find out why it took them so many years to complete their part in the investigation, and why even at this date there are no prosecutions?
You're certainly entitled to ask questions in that area, and again, that's something we can discuss further.
Thanks.
Phil, are you content enough with my...
I wanted to ask questions around the nature of the police investigation, but also on what work has been carried out to explore the role of the board. And I don't know whether they should be an open session or closed session. Perhaps you can.
Can I?
I just want to say, as regards the police material, I prefer to do that bit in.
Closed.
That said, I suppose
I mean, there's nothing to say that some of that stuff can be fleshed out whenever we have our evidence session.
Oh,
We need
absolutely.
to be careful at this stage that we're...
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but just in case there's doubt, because we're in an open session, this is not about hiding something, this is about making sure that we don't prejudice the outcome of a legal case.
It's more just in terms of how we brief you at this stage.
How we
Yep.
manage our evidence
Just
session.
trying to be helpful to other members as to what may or may not be appropriate to ask. You wouldn't want to ask any question now to give advance notice of the question you're going to ask some of the critical witnesses. So, there's no point asking a question to give them warning of what you wished and allow them to pre-prepare their answers.
The only really question I wanted to ask was for an update on the police investigation. I presume you're going to cover that in closed session.
Yeah.
And the other one would be around the role of directors and what investigation has taken place as to their legal responsibilities for governance within the organisation.
Fair.
I can actually answer the first one. There is a line in the report as to where the police investigation actually is.
Okay.
It was along the lines that one remaining interview to do under caution. So it actually says that in the report. The second question really, relates to the
Director.
And the legal responsibility of the board members.
So there is a process there that isn't concluded. You would have a full opportunity at the second evidence session to quiz Detty on where exactly that process is and to get an update.
Okay.
Content members to move into closed session?
Yep.
Okay, agreed. Move into closed.